Hey, hi vibers. Welcome back to Tea Time with Jess. Um, Welcome back to my channel. I am going to speak to you today about anger. Okay. This video is all about processing anger in the body. What happens? What does it do? What what do we do to break through that emotion? Okay. I'm actually someone who doesn't have the, I guess, typical display of anger. Basically, you won't be able to tell that I'm angry, especially if you don't know me. You won't be able to tell because it's something that I just let just sit in. I let it sink in and I just fold it over. If you imagine a paper folding, like, okay, let me just fold this up and stuff it down. Okay. That's kind of what I do about it with it. And so I have actually now gotten the nerve to figure out what is going on with me and the emotion of anger. How do I get myself moving through it? Moving with it. I felt like if someone's able to, like, people who get angry and they immediately can say, this is what's making me angry right now. You are frustrating me. Blah, 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 blah. This is the problem. And they're able to just boom, blow it up. I admire you if you're one of those people. I admire you because I'm one of the people who will just clam up. I will be like a clam. My mouth will be open, then now I'm sinking in to myself and I'm retreating. I'm a Cancer sun, so it's more like I am, or let's talk about what rules emotions is going to be the moon sign, right? So I'm a Cancer moon as well. So I get into my little shell, my little crab, I get to my little shell and I scurry away into an area where I feel like I'm safe. And it may be away from the person that's made me angry or the situation. I run away, which sometimes can seem flighty, but it's more like I need to go away so that I can collect my thoughts, so that I can like really process this. I'm also Virgo rising. So my process of this needs to be very calculated. I need to look at this from this angle, that angle, this angle, and then I can determine how I should act. What should I do? And sometimes I just pray about it and I leave it alone. But I recognize what has happened to me is that has actually led to stagnation in my body. So I talk about, in my previous videos, what we want is for emotions to move through us, right? The emotions are moving through. They're not sitting, they're not staying, they're moving through. And so like we experience them and they're signs. They're like, they tell us the emotions are signs of what we need to do next, right? They tell us even how we have, not even what to do next, but what we should not be doing. They tell us if what we did was successful or is something that serves us and stuff. There's so many things that emotions can tell us. If I'm not sure if that's even clear what I just said, but that's what emotions do. Emotions are transformative. They help you with your transformation, and you're growing each and every year. Every time your birthday comes around, you are growing. I call myself, every time my birthday comes around, I'm like, okay. Like when my birthday came around this year, I was Jessica 3.5. I'm like, okay, this is this is Jessica 3.5, or some people who like books might call it chapter 35. But you want to keep editing yourself, keep developing, changing, evolving, right? Becoming a better you. And you're changing each time. So if I tell you a little bit about me, right? I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. I follow this lady on Instagram, and her Instagram tag is typewriter_astrology. Man, her feed is gorgeous. Her feed is beautiful. Recommend going there. I recommend looking up your chart. Chani, CHANI, is one of the apps that I like to use. They do have a free version, and then there's also a paid version. Chani knows what she is doing, okay? But when I looked at typewriter astrology's page yesterday, she has specifically Mars and anger. So my Mars is in Leo. And here's a little bit about what she said, which kind of goes along with what I just told you. She says, Leo, Mars, and anger. Their anger is not an uncontrolled blaze. It is a fire held with intention, contained, but only because they allow it to be. It is heat in the chest and the throat, in the space behind their eyes, a fire behind gritted teeth, a crown starting to slip, and the sharp, unshakable reminder that they will never let it fall. It simmers, but it does not burn. It grows, but it does not overtake them. They do not lose themselves in rage. They do not stumble beneath its weight. They rise. Their pulse may pound in their ears like war drums announcing their fury, but they do not break. They do not let anger make them foolish. They hold their fury with the same power they hold themselves. Their anger is felt before it is spoken. Ooh. A glare that makes the skin crawl. A single shift in posture that reminds the room who commands it. They do not waste time with empty threats. They do not need to, because when they speak, when they let the fire reach the surface, it is not a request for respect. It is a demand. And if the offense is great enough, if the wound is deep enough, they will not just make their anger known, they will make it remembered. They do not seek vengeance. They seek permanence. Isn't that amazing? Okay. Like, look, even if your Leo is not in Mars, what? The writing that she has on here. Okay. It is so good. I don't know. Ugh. I read this and I was like, oh my gosh, that is me. She is her. That's me. Anyway, so if you want to learn a little bit more about yourself and how you process anger, go to her page. So good. Again, I'm going to say her tag here. It's typewriter_astrology. Beautiful visuals. The way that she lays this out. As a former teacher, I highly approve of this. The way that she has this organized for you to learn about yourself. Okay. And everybody should be learning about themselves. Okay. You know yourself, of course, because you are with yourself all the time. But how often do you self-reflect? And those of you who self-reflect all the time, you want to go to, you want to see these things, right? You want to learn more about who you are. And so that's what the T's make you do. Okay. And that's what we're talking about. How do we self-reflect with plants, with the T's, in order to help us become better people, in order to help our bodies be healthier, right? So I need to take a sip real fast. I'm sipping on my tea that I made for my liver, okay? I have stagnation in my liver. I have makeup on. Underneath the makeup, I have what looks like acne. I have breakouts on my cheeks, on my chin, a little bit on my forehead, and I get these hormonally, and sometimes it just goes crazy. Right now it's going crazy. Could be because I'm drinking this liver tea all the time. I don't have a name for it yet. I'm not selling it yet. Once I do sell it, you'll see it on the website, and you'll see a post about it on Instagram and everything. But I made this tea because I recognized that my skin is going crazy. And your skin is the largest organ in the body that'll speak to you, right? It's easy to see when the body is able to use the skin to speak to you very easily. And so basically what I uncovered is that I have stagnation in my liver, right? My liver needs help. It needs to run efficiently. And yes, there are dietary changes that you must make. Dietary changes that I must make, that I have made. And in addition to that, there's also, what are you putting into your body? The plant world, it's here in order to help our bodies run efficiently, to help us, So I decided finally, after maybe a year or so of knowing that I needed to do this, I need to make a tea that's for the liver. And I know that if it's for the liver, it's going to help the kidneys because they work together. And I know that if it helps the liver and the kidneys, then it's also going to help with the feeling of anger. And that is the one as you heard, the one emotion that I don't have an easy time with. So when it comes to anger, you're either the type to push it aside, hold it down, stuff it down into your body, or you are the type to let it all out in a roar, right? Maybe you're the type to walk around with it all day and wait until someone does something to you that allows you to let it out. Maybe you're the type that holds on to it all day and doesn't let it out, you know? Either way, it is something that you want to be able to manage better, you know? How do I become my best self? And so the feeling of anger, the emotions of anger in Chinese medicine, it is associated with the liver and the gallbladder. In my research here, I just want to say this out loud. I do see here that it's manifest. This is Google, okay? My research that I do on the side through my books, I study books by Judith Hill. She's someone who's amazing with astrology when it comes to herbal astrology, as well as astrology of the way that the planets affect the organs. But anyway, so in Chinese medicine, according to Google, says that it can manifest as headaches, dizziness, hypertension, digestive issues. Chronic anger can damage the liver and affect digestion. Basically, when anger is held, right? Okay, my hand is anger. Anger is feeling. Anger comes upon you, and well, are you going to release it back out, or are you going to push it down, right? Or are you going to hold it? So if you release it, it still is able to go. It's flying, right? It's flying. If you don't release it, now it's a rock, and it's sinking and sinking and sinking and sinking and sinking. And every time you get angry, every time you get angry, you feel angry, you're going to put more on top of it, more on top of that, more on top of that, and more on top of that, until you're just this tight ball of a human body that is stagnant, which means not moving. There is no motion. Circulation is having an issue. You are stuck. Not only are you stuck internally, you're stuck when it comes to making moves in your life. There are different things that are going on in your life where you're not able to have movement. It can affect the entire body, an entire life. It can impede on your life. So how do we transmute this anger? How do we get the circulation going? So I made my tea. And my tea includes herbs such as like schizandra berries. And I love that name, schizandra. But the berries, it don't taste that great. It doesn't. A lot of the herbs that help with the liver are not the best tasting, but they are necessary. And the reason that they're not the best tasting is because they're astringent, right? And they create flow, right? They allow things to flow. They allow things to release, to move, to move, to move. That's all you want to do within your body is allow things to move, 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 move. So herbs that help to promote circulation, right? That's what we're looking at. So when thinking of high vibe herbals, although I don't have specifically a anger blend just yet, some of the products that I already have would be like my elderberry extract. So elderberry actually helps with the flow of circulation. It actually helps with nourishing the liver. So it helps to provide to make sure that the liver is operating in a functioning properly. Elderberries actually help with that. Where I'm getting this information from is that elderberries is a plant of Jupiter. Plants of Jupiter are associated with the liver. So anything that is ruled, any plants that are ruled by Jupiter is going to help the liver naturally, right? They all help your whole body. But when you're thinking about it specifically, the elderberry extract that I have, when it comes to non-alcoholic like booster, or when it comes to the traditional tincture, is going to be the elderberry extract that I have, as well as the chai. High vibe chai. High vibe chai has ginger, and ginger helps with moving things throughout your body, releasing stagnation. You know that ginger has that very strong flavor, that very intense taste that it has. So yeah, the when it comes to anger, anger is either going to be pushed down, right? Held down inside of your body and cause you not to move. It kind of just makes you heavier energetically. Or you're going to release it and harm others. It comes out like a blazing roar of fire, like a dragon's fire breath going everywhere, right? Hurting the people that you're in front of. We don't want to do that either. So these plants, when it comes to the high vibe chai, it mellows you out, right? It gives you some energy and it mellows you out. Elderberry is very nourishing, right? Now, what we really want anger to do, what we really want it to do is to be fuel. We want to use it to help us determine what our next steps are going to be. Okay. But before we get into that, I want to make sure that you're keeping up with the healthy ways to process anger. Number one is to recognize how you process anger. I couldn't work on myself on my own stagnations until I understood how I do this. How does my body move it through me? How does my emotional body work? I recognize, whoa, every time I get angry, I shut down. I'm not saying anything to anyone. Or I just change the subject. I move on to somewhere else. I don't know how to release this. This is not good. It's not good. It's not a healthy way of dealing with it. And this is me personally. Okay. And then after recognizing that, let's say you have a hard time recognizing that you maybe want some more information, go ahead and get your birth chart, go to typewriter_astrology on Instagram. Go ahead and look at her Mars post, because Mars is the way that you process anger according to the astrological system that she's using. And you look at that, read it. And that's going to tell you some information about yourself. And now you decide, which way do I want this to go? How do I want to be able to process anger? Well, how do I want to be able to express my anger? What is the opposite of what I'm doing that is going to be helpful? Or maybe you're already amazing at expressing your anger and, you want to maintain doing that. You want to keep doing that. You decide what your action is going to be after finding this out. Okay. So let's get to number 3, because number 2 is going to be your choice. Number 3 now is going to be which high vibe herbals products. As I mentioned, elderberry extract is going to help with that. Now, the reason that elderberry helps with that, the reason why the elderberry extract is going to help with that is because it is nutritive, meaning that it provides nutrition throughout the body. Okay. It also helps with the digestive system. It helps with it's anti-inflammatory, so it helps release inflammation, and it also protects your immune system. Sometimes when someone is just chronically angry all the time, their immune system is suppressed meaning that it's not working optimally. It's like held down, and cannot react to contagions all the time. Or maybe the anger or the immune system is hurting itself, like maybe like an autoimmune disease is like your body's hurting itself. And so elderberry actually helps with, I'm not saying that elderberry cures autoimmune diseases. Not saying that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I cannot provide medical advice, but I can provide advice that helps you with your wellness. Okay. So, as I was saying, not only is elderberry good for all the stuff that you know it for, which is great for colds, it's scientifically proven to help with recovering from viruses and getting rid of viruses, but the elderberry extract is going to support your liver and support your kidneys. They work hand in hand. It's a system. And so I want to also move on to another herb that helps will be echinacea. And so let me go back. What elderberry is located in as far as high vibe herbals products is going to be in Booster, which is an alcohol-free elderberry extract that has some other plants in there. And then it also is in my plain elderberry tincture, which I call elderberry extract. Now there's also, you'll find echinacea in throat soothing tea, as well as the high vibe herbal sinus steam, which also you can drink it as a tea. Echinacea is going to be, again, another plant that actually helps with protecting the liver. It's a wonderful, wonderful plant. If you're not familiar with herbs, it's okay. There is a brand that was very popular back in like 2014, 2000, the early 2010s. It's called Airborne. And Airborne, I remember hearing on the commercial all the time with echinacea. And I would always be like, well, what is echinacea? I didn't know it was a plant back then. Now I know. But yeah, so again, throat soothing tea as well as the sinus steam. So I've already named 4 products that I have already on within my arsenal within High Vibe Herbal's online store that you can get and you can start using in your for daily use to help you with any stagnation or with processing your anger. So and that's before I release my liver detoxing tea that I've made. Also reishi. I have a reishi mushroom extract. Reishi is also really good at balancing the liver. So it's going to be great. Like what we're looking for is harmony within the body. Harmony, right? Balance. And so reishi does that. And so with High Vibe Herbals, I have the reishi mushroom extract. And lastly, when you're looking for another extract to take, which I've named 2 of them now. How many? 2. I talked about because I don't have an echinacea extract. So I've talked about elderberry. I've talked about reishi. Those are both extracts that I have. Another extract would be slippery elm. So slippery elm actually helps with anger as well, helps with the liver. And it soothes your digestion, right? It's very nutritive. Again, it's used as a food source. I know that in my research, American soldiers from way back when ended up using slippery elm as their food when they needed it long ago. And what slippery elm is, so the elm tree, you may be familiar with the elm tree. Slippery elm they call it slippery elm because it is mucilaginous. It is, once you peel back the outer bark and you get to that inner bark, that is what you can eat from the tree. Now for number 4, what's going to help you with your daily diet, what you're eating throughout the day to help to keep your body healthy and keep you processing anger in a positive way, is going to be these foods. Basil, which you include as a seasoning. Apples, snacking on apples. Cardamom, if you include that in your dishes, if you include that when you're eating. Cloves, also another great ingredient. Also tomatoes. Tomatoes are actually good for the liver. And yams. And, when it comes to yams, this isn't yams like sweet potato. Otherwise it would be, I would say sweet potato. This is yams like, I'm Jamaican, so we have yam. We have white yam and yellow yam, which is grown, it's big, thick, and like has a bark on the outside and grows in the ground. And there's also tamarind. So because I'm Jamaican, I pronounce it tamarind, but you may pronounce it as tamarind. But for me, it's tamarind. So let's run over some of the High Vibe Herbals products again that can help you with processing anger throughout your day, that you can even purchase from now, right? You don't have to wait for my liver detox tea. You can go ahead and start drinking the High Vibe chai. You can take the elderberry extract. High Vibe chai has cardamom. It has the cloves. It has what else does it have? Yeah, it has cardamom, it has cloves, it has ginger in it. So that is definitely very helpful. Also, I didn't cover ashwagandha, my ashwagandha extract, kind of helps you be at an even keel. Helps you with processing, definitely, for sure. Just as a reminder, I do have a video that is within my channel. Within the Tea Time with Just, is it on the Tea Time with Just playlist? I believe it is on the Tea Time with Just playlist that explains how I'm coming up with this, why, how do your emotions affect your physical body, and why it's important to address this from now. And even, why it's important to address this from now to help yourself through your emotions. It's work that I have had to do with myself, not only do you do therapy, but then you can also, like talk therapy, you can do sound healing, you can do massages, and then also make sure that your nutrition is good, and you do that through herbal products and making sure that you're eating fruits and vegetables. And these are specifically the fruits and vegetables that you can use that are going to support you, and the different herbal products that are going to support you through your transition and your transformation to becoming a person who helps yourself process anger in a healthy way. I want to thank you so much for joining me with this video. I hope that you enjoyed this video of Tea Time with Jess, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye. Okay, I'm done now.